Please rise. Emily. I've lost a child. A new year beginning, and I can't call you to say I'm bursting with wonderful news. Your arms won't encircle me when I grieve, when I mourn. You'll never know now the unexpected achievements, the abiding sorrows. And yet, as we stand here with this candle, we allow ourselves some quiet moments until once again your face shines in our memories. Until once again we feel you blessing us. So we light this candle of memory. Emily, Elena.
The human spirit is the lamp of God, searching out what lies within us. Guided by the flame of conscience, on this sacred night we search for truth. Shine your light upon us as we strive to serve you. May we find safety in your faithful love. We light the flame of healing and forgiveness on this atonement night. We give thanks for love. The candles. That's right. Good job.
Look what I'm doing, Mom.
Yeah, I see that. Thank you, Daddy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Haolam asher v'tzivanu
להדליק של יום הכיפורים.
All right, you come with Mama. Give that to Rabbi.
Thank you. Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Erev Tov and good evening. Welcome back. 3 years hence. It's a long time. I am so grateful for the privilege given to me to share my thoughts with you tonight. And as I begin, I would like to ask forgiveness from anyone who I may have offended this year, whether by my words or actions, or should I, as rabbi of the congregation, failed to respond to your needs or your family's needs in a sensitive or timely manner. I grew up just following the golden age of Jewish oratory, when rabbinic dinosaurs first roamed the earth. Men like Rabbi Armand Cohen, alav hashalom, my childhood rabbi, who served his community noch for 70 years and passed away recently at the age of 99. Rabbi Cohen could speak for an hour easily, and that was only to cover the first 5 commandments. His words cracked like thunderbolts, and like a locomotive, he gathered steam as he went. As a young man, my impression was that God spoke through him. And as my parents were quick to remind me, one ought never to interrupt God when God's on a roll. My drasha, thankfully, this evening will be unlike in style, substance, or length the great sermons of old. This drasha is created for you, for us, Netflix-addicted, book-disdaining, attention-starved, Uber-eating people who want our speeches like our food delivered fast and hot. Therefore, recognizing the wisdom in brevity, I'd like to share with you tonight what I call bumper sticker wisdom. Popular sayings that may or may not land up on a car's rear bumper, but due to their concision, we are very likely to remember. Politics, of course, is a source of rich bumper sticker wisdom. America's greatest president, not him, lahavdil, Abraham Lincoln was known for his extreme brevity. His Gettysburg Address, just 272 words and all of 3 minutes in length, led one biographer to write, "He can compress the most words into the smallest ideas of any person I've ever met." For example, Lincoln taught us everything we need to know about religion in just a few words, when he was heard to say, "I care not for a man's religion, whose dog and cat are not the better for it." I know that he said this because I saw it on Instagram. Nearly a century later, Americans were taught the importance of personal responsibility by another great president, Harry Truman, who famously had sitting on his desk the simple four-word maxim, "The Robux stops here." Here at home, I found that in 1972, the Australian Labor Party, out of office since 1949, paid some bright spark heaps of money to come up with its winning campaign slogan. Does anyone remember? It's time. I guess so. Sometimes just a few words organized just so, delivered at just the right moment or displayed in just the right way, can change the way we feel, think, and act. To find such words as these, we may turn not only to politics or popular culture, but to ancient wisdom. Our Chachamim, our greatest sages, wrapped up bite-sized pieces of Torah that are still perfectly tasty for our times. And here's a bit of good news. We don't need to retreat to dusty old tomes to find them. Never has Torah been so available as now. The entire treasury of Torah wisdom is readily available at the click of a mouse at sefaria.org or through the Jewish Virtual Library. Online, there is one site that features a 1-minute daily vort on Torah. The Union for Reform Judaism posts regularly 10 minutes of Torah. Here at TBI throughout 2022, each Shabbos morning, our service has included what I call 2-minute Torah, a small selection from our tradition, which taken together amounts to an hour and a half learning a year. Not sufficient, but at least a little something. Pirkei Avot, the collected wisdom of our rabbinic ancestors, is a particularly rich source of bumper sticker wisdom. From Ben Zoma, we learn about wisdom and strength, wealth and honor, while from Ben Azai, no relation, taught, Al tihi vaz l'chol adam, ve'al tihi maflik l'chol davar. Do not scorn any person, and do not discount anything, for there is no one who has not his hour, and no thing that has not its place. Hillel coined what may arguably be said to have been the most sticky piece of bumper sticker wisdom, saying, Im eina nili mili, uchsha'ani la'atzmi ma'ani. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I'm only for myself, who am I? And if not now? Naturally, the Tanakh too provides the sort of guidance necessary for our morally confused world. In only a few short words, the prophet Micah provides a succinct prescription for living in such a world when asking, Ma Adonai doresh mimecha? What does the Eternal require of you? But to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Amos, the Tekoan shepherd, also inspires us to build societies built on equity and fairness, saying, Vayigal kamayim mishpat, utzedakah kenachal etan. Let justice roll on like a river, and righteousness like a never-failing stream. Such elevated, such beautiful words. In a world fraught with violence and warfare, threatened by climate change and the depletion of so much of our natural resource, a world beset by pandemic, a world which can be as frightening as a haunted house at Halloween, the prophet Isaiah offers us this confidence, gives us this hope, saying, Al tira, ki imecha ani. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Bumper sticker wisdom has been around for a long time. When the former Soviet Union held millions of Jews against their will, forbidding them to learn Hebrew or to make aliyah to Israel, we marched here in Melbourne, did we not? in New York, in Cleveland, in Los Angeles, behind banners reading simply, "Let my people go." And be honest, who has ever been at a UIA fundraising event or a synagogue event without hearing these words, "Kol Yisrael arevin ze lazeh," all Jews are responsible for one another. Similarly, when we celebrate the improbable and miraculous independence of the State of Israel, we still shout this ancient phrase, "Am Yisrael Chai," the people of Israel live. When was the last time you proclaimed "Am Yisrael Chai" at the top of your lungs? Let's hear it. Ready? Am Yisrael Chai. Nice. Rav Joseph Soloveitchik, a great 20th century American Jewish leader, once commented on this simple phrase, "Am Yisrael Chai," saying, "The secret to a strong Am Yisrael, or people of Israel, is not just to say Am Yisrael Chai, but Im Yisrael Chai. With Israel we live." Whether one or the other, these words shouldn't be for us slogans alone. He wrote, they must also be a kind of prayer, because we still have a long way to go to be fully an Am, a united family. All these sayings remind us that as Jews, we are inextricably intertwined, that the Jewish future for all of us and our children and grandchildren depend on each one of us. I have said this many times. We are a minyan people. Mutual responsibility, interdependence, cooperation, a pooling of talents, the sharing of interests. These are part and parcel of what it means to be a Jew. Not an Orthodox Jew, not a progressive Jew or a conservative Jew, not a renewalist or reconstructionist or humanist Jew. No. The sages likened the nation of Israel to a single ship and expressed it this way: if one chamber of our ship is torn, the entire ship is torn. And our ancestors said that at Sinai, that we were likened to one body, Ish Echad, Lev Echad, as one person with one heart. That would make a good bumper sticker. Take two, the vidui, the verbal confession that we will recite repeatedly over the next 25 hours. Among the transgressions mentioned, one finds many sins that we know in our hearts that we have not committed. But we say them anyway. So many people over the years of my rabbinic career have asked me, why? Why should I confess to sins I didn't commit? They sound a bit like Jackie Mason, the comedian. They're saying, I wasn't there, I never heard, I never saw, I never knew. Why should I agree to confess to that which I may not have done? Almost certainly. One commentator, Ben Ish Echai, writes, the entire vidui, the confessional, should be recited including those transgressions that a person has not violated, because all Israel is a single body. We are, if you will, all in this together and responsible for one another. In Parshat Nitzavim, which will be read tomorrow in the synagogue, our Torah states that all Jews were to have equal access to and share responsibility for Torah, both the greatest and the least among them. But there was one tanai, one condition. Chazal, our sages, teach the Torah was given to them because each person took upon him or herself the mitzvah, ve'ahavta l're'acha kamocha, that you shall love your neighbor, your friend as yourself. This means that everyone was agreed to work not only to satisfy their own needs, but also the needs of others. Only once the whole nation unanimously agreed to this and said, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear, did our ancestors become worthy of receiving Torah, and not before. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of Hasidic Judaism in the 18th century, also helps us to understand the nature and the necessity of joining together as Am Echad, as one people. Unity, he explained, is not necessarily about everyone agreeing, but about connectedness. For only by means of connectedness and cleaving one to the other can we reach a high level and accomplish greatness. To be plain, Judaism does not demand uniformity of meaning or belief. Knowing that, perhaps, is why we are progressive Jews. But Judaism does demand that we at least row in somewhat the same direction. Martin Buber puts it this way: the Jewish people would not be redeemed until we are one bundle. One bundle. So like tomorrow's reading and the vidui that we'll recite for the first time tonight, Sukkot also makes it clear how reliant we are on one another, though we are in so many ways different. A familiar midrash describes 4 types of Jews represented by the 4 species used in the mitzvah of lulav and etrog. Indulge me. The etrog, a tasty and fragrant fruit, represents a Jew who learns Torah and performs ma'asim tovim, good deeds. The lulav produces a fruit that is tasty but has no smell, like the Jew who learns Torah but does not perform ma'asim tovim, good deeds. The hadas, the myrtle, a fragrant branch, represents the Jew who performs good deeds but does not study Torah. Lastly, the arava, the willow, which has neither taste nor smell, represents a Jew with interest neither in learning nor good deeds. All 4 species, it should be emphasized, are required to perform the mitzvah of lulav and etrog. Taka, they have to be held together when you say the bracha, the blessing. 3 of these species are not enough. So too, all Jews, black-hatted Jews and bare-headed Jews, whether you like your bagel with seeds or plain, we are meant to stand together in furtherance of the cause of Am Yisrael, the people of Israel. And to do otherwise, to exempt oneself, to conclude that it's up to somebody else, is a dereliction. For those who've been following either here in the Beit Knesset or watching online this year, you'll know that I have several Jewish heroes. Abraham Joshua Heschel. My students will get that immediately. Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, and Rav Kook. Rav Kook, the early 20th century figures whose love and patience for his people was greater by far than was Moshe Rabbeinu's, once wrote some bumper sticker wisdom, which, when I first heard it, absolutely blew my mind. I want you to lean in and listen carefully as he addresses his fellow Jews, for this is, in essence, what I really wish to say tonight. He asks his followers, "Who am I without you?" And how does he answer? He proclaims, "Bachem ani chai." In you I live. In you I live. Rav Kook knew that the Jewish people need one another, like we in our congregation need one another, as we need our spouses and our parents and our siblings and our children and our families and our dearest friends. He wrote, "In your life, my life has deeper meaning. In your glory, I am glorified. In your affliction, I am low." Each individual soul is a glowing spark of that torch eternal, which is the way he puts it, kindling the light of life for me. With you, I soar the wide spaces of the world. In your eternity, I have life eternal. Lama hadavar domeh, to what can this be compared? How else can we express it? In 2013, Jocelyn and I traveled throughout the U.S. until we found ourselves in the Moyer Woods near San Francisco. Perhaps some of you have been. It is home to some of North America's most impressive trees. We learned that a sequoia can grow to be as much as 83 meters, can you imagine? Have a diameter of 30 meters and weigh more than 3.5 million kilos. These stately trees are like skyscrapers. They are awesome. But even so, there's much more to the story, much more to the sequoia than meets the eye. Their roots, evidently, are very shallow. Perhaps you've heard this, reaching only 2 to 6 meters into the ground. Hardly the root system one might expect of a tree that size. What we learn, however, is that the mighty sequoia rarely grows on its own. Instead, it grows best and survives longest in groves. The roots intertwined beneath the ground to hold each other up. Arms and limbs extended, reaching out to the other. Their intricate root system gives them the strength to withstand whatever strong winds may come. Like the sequoias, we Jews can and must enrich one another and support and strengthen one another, for we live in a world riven with Jew hatred, with ad hominem attacks on the Jewish state, a daily occurrence. When anti-Semitism is again on the rise, the oldest, most ancient hatred, when university students face intimidation and harassment, when Jewish continuity within the progressive movement is anything but assured, this much seems certain. We need one another. Human beings need one another. After the Shoah, we established Interfaith Councils, bringing together Christians and Jews to fight against religious bigotry and indifference and anti-Semitism. Considering the environmental threat we all face, the floods and the fire and the drought that result from a steadily warming planet, are we at last starting to realize our mutual interests in preventing emissions escaping into the sky, preserving our rainforests, protecting our oceans. And of course, the last 3 years have demonstrated what starts there affects others here, how interdependent we are and just how many vulnerabilities that we share. Taking these things together, it is easy to see that life is hard and often uncertain. We need each other to get through it. When we are sick, we need care. When we are lonely, we need company. If we are poor, we need a helping hand. And when we determine to rise to our ideal selves, to become the person we have within us to be, the one that we dream about on the Yamim Noraim, we can benefit much from the support and encouragement of others too. My new friends, what a blessing it has been to be in this community throughout the year. For myself and for Jocelyn, a joy. Permit me to share briefly a little something personal, and then I'll conclude. Among the most formative experiences in my life was my first visit to Auschwitz-Birkenau in 1979. I was so young, and it was so confronting, but also a defining moment when I decided at last to listen to my mother and to become a rabbi just as she had always planned. I recall crying while reciting Kaddish and singing at the memorial there, Ani Ma'amin, I believe with perfect faith. Today, I've come to realize that I have been responding to the Shoah for much of my adult life, just like so many of you. Yet I feel that I am so fortunate to have been born a Jew. But being Jewish is not easy, as it says, schwer zu sein in Jid. I was reminded of this recently when I read the words of Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau, former Ashkenazic chief rabbi of Israel and a survivor himself. Words that he spoke at a ceremony also at Auschwitz. And he said this: "We Jews have always known how to die together. The time has come for us to also learn how to live together." In 5783, may we learn and take to heart tonight's simple bumper sticker wisdom. Remember the holiness of the Jewish people of which we are part. Remember the privilege of being a Jew, and do not forsake it. Remember the obligation which entails from it, that comes along with it. As Rav Kook said, Bachem ani chai, in you I live. A good Yantiv. Okay. Brotia. All right, so these are mine. My desk is going to be repositioned. We'll do that after this, I suppose.
In just a moment, we shall open the Ark and join together in the words of Kol Nidrei. I'd like to invite to join us on the bima and to hold Sifrei Torah. Kevin Bell, Muffy Hand, David Arkels, Kathy Kaplan, Brian Samuel, Saul Ryan, Mark Light, Robert Hershen, Daniel Agian, and Hermie Rabel. And to open the ark, I'd like to invite Lola Gunn. You'll find us on page 9. Please rise.
Yom Kippur, the Jewish people's festival of the soul, and Kol Nidrei, its sacred portal. A night of deep emotion, a night, as the psalmist wrote, to rejoice with trembling. Kol Nidrei, the ancient rhythmic words of release from vows, oaths, and promises to God that we have failed to keep. The melody of spiritual amazement fills us with awe as we stand before God and Torah. We stand together, strengthened by community in this hour of shared weakness and humility. Tonight we confess our flaws, admit our imperfection, and acknowledge an infinite power far beyond our understanding. We commit ourselves to great endeavors because we are able to feel so deeply and to think critically. We know that our ideals are far greater than our ability. Our promises surpass our might. Freedom is Kol Nidrei's true gift. The freedom to begin a new year without past failures, to try to reflect God's image in the world. And because each one of us is mortal, we resolve to live with inner strength and nobility. We enter Kol Nidrei to face our own humanity.
Or zaru ala tzadik u'li'yishrei lev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik u'li'yishrei lev simcha. Or zaru ala tzadik u'li'yishrei lev simcha. Light is sown for the righteous, radiance and joy for the pure of heart. V'yeshiva shel mala v'yeshiva shel mada al dad ha'magom ve'al dad ha'gal anu matirin להתפלל עם העבריינים. בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הגל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. משיבה של מעלה וישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הגל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הגל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. With one voice, assembled sages, past and present, declare, all may pray as one on this night of repentance. Let none be excluded from our community of prayer. With one voice, God and congregation proclaim, all may pray as one on this day of return. Though all of us are dead, let all find a place in this sacred community. Kol Nidrei Vesarei Vacharamei Vekonamei Vechinuyei Vekinusei Ushavot Din Darna Ureishtebana Uracharimna Sarna al nafshata na miyom kippurim ze ad yom kippurim haba Letovat kulon yicharat naveon kulhon yehon shiran shvikin shevitin betelin umvutalin sheririn velakayamin nidrana la nidrei vesarana la esare ushvuatana la shevot. You'll join with me in the middle of page 12. All our vows, resolves and commitments, vows of abstinence and terms of obligation, sworn promises and oaths of dedication, those we promise and swear to God those we take upon ourselves. From this day of atonement until the next day of atonement, may it find us well, we regret them, and repent those we are unable to fulfill. Let them be discarded and forgiven, abolished and undone. May they not be valid or binding. Our vows should not be counted as vows, our resolves as resolves, and our oaths, they should not be binding oaths. God responded, I forgive as you have asked.
We continue our tefillah together on page 16, reading in the Ivrit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh yitim, umachalifat hazmanim, umesaderet hakochavim, b'mishmeroteim barakia kirtzono. Boreyom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uven layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, O God, creator of twilight and of dusk.
וקשרתם ריאות ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת עליהם, ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם, ונטו הציצית הכנף בטיל תכלת, והיה לכם לציצית ולריתם אותו. וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on page 23. Permit me just a moment to familiarize you with the machzor. Some of you are using your machzorim for the very first time, or for the first time in at least a year. This machzor is so beautifully done, created in such a way as to cater to and edify our congregations in this region. It includes traditional text on the even pages, the right-hand side by and large, beautiful adapting readings on the left hand in the gray, responsive readings, explanations about the meanings of the prayer below, and much more elaborate essays on the significance of some of the tefillot in the blue shaded pages. And I want to encourage everyone to take time this evening and throughout the next day to really range through the machzor and to enjoy its really special features. We continue now responsively in English for the first time on page 23 by paragraph. Our sages taught it is proper to mention the exodus from Egypt in our morning prayers and also at night. We celebrate
the going out of Egypt in the morning light, full of confidence and vigor as we enter the new day.
But in the evening, weary from the day's exertions, cast down and fearful at the coming of the night, what can the Exodus teach us then?
Our nighttime prayer brings hope and trust in the future, as God did not abandon our people long ago through the long, dark night of exile. So the Holy One will be with us in time to come, to stand by the one you love, that is the true essence of faithfulness, the meaning of emunah.
So it is written in the Psalms, to proclaim your kindness in the morning and your faithfulness through the nights. Sing with joy in the mornings of your life, when light surrounds you and the world seems beautiful and good. But in the nights of your life, when you dwell in sorrow and the world seems dark, do not despair.
Israel, page 25. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים, ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעזת טובה מלפניך, והושיענו למען שמך. והגן בעדנו, והסר מעלינו אויב דבר וחרב ורב ויגון והרחק ממנו עוון ופשע. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Please rise on page 26. just a moment, we arrive at the Chatzi Kaddish, followed by the Amidah, the standing prayer. And so we will continue through the Chatzi Kaddish, through the standing prayer, which you'll find begins on 27 and the following pages. We remain standing. If you need to be seated, feel free to be seated at any time.
Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'amad yivarach yiroteh, ve'yamlich malchuteh. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach, ve'yitbarach ve'yitroman ve'yitnaseh, ve'yitada ve'yitare ve'yitaran, sheviv le'kudesha. Ve'era u'le'era mikol bechata, ve'shirata.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufiagit tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Hagadol, Hagibur, Hanora, Elyon, Gomer Chasadim, Tovim, Vekonei hakol, Vezocher se'avot elot, U'meigelo, Livnei v'nehem, Lema'an shemo לחיים איתי מטרה להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא עולים, ומתיר הסוהרים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות ומי מלך, מביט ובחיה ומשמיח ישוע. מי כמוך אל הרחמים זוכה יצוריו לחיים ברחמים, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה.
And so, eternal our God, give all creation the gift of awe. Turn our fear to reverence. Let us be witnesses of wonder, perceiving all nature as a prayer come alive. We bow to the sovereignty of your strength, the primacy of your power. We yearn for connection with all that lives, doing your will with wholeness of heart. Awe-inspiring is your creation, all-encompassing your transcendent name. Page 33.
David.
Oh
And so may the righteous envision a future bright with joy, and the upright rejoice in our world where evil has no voice and the rule of malevolence fades like wisps of smoke. Good people everywhere will celebrate, for the dominion of arrogance will have been removed from the earth. V'timloch ata Adonai levadecha al kol ma'asecha, b'har Tzion mishkan kavodecha, u'v'Yerushalayim ir kodshecha, ka'katuv b'divrei kodshecha, yimloch Adonai leolam, Elohayich Tzion. Hallelujah. Together we continue, Kadosh ata v'nora shemecha, ve'ein Eloha mibatladecha ka'katuv, vayigba Adonai tzvaot b'mishpat, v'ha'el hakadosh nikdash b'tzedakah, Baruch atah Adonai, hamelech hakadosh. Blessed are you, Eternal One, the Holy Sovereign.
אתה ברכת אותנו מכל העמים, אהבת אותנו ורצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל הלשונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקרבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך, ושמך הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת.
On page 37, that is the facing page in the middle, today the Jewish mission is not diminished. In a world that still cries out for healing, where suffering and narrowness are endemic, to be chosen means to have a special calling to teach that all human beings are children of God, created in God's image, and must be treated as sacred. That Judaism is a small nation is no bar to this task. Many of the nations that have changed the world have been small. The Athens of Socrates and Plato, the England of Queen Elizabeth I and Shakespeare, the America of Washington and Jefferson. No nation, great or small, has touched humanity more deeply than the tiny nation of Isaiah and Jeremiah. Chosenness is not a privilege to boast of, but a task to be undertaken. It is to keep constantly in mind the words of the prophet Micah. It has been told you, O mortal, what is good and what the eternal requires of you, only this, to do justly and love mercy and to walk humbly with your God.
ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה את יום הגיבורים הזה למחילה ולסליחה ולכפרה ולמחול בו את כל עוונותינו מקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו יעלה ויבוא ויגיע וראה ורצה וישמע ויבגד ויזכר זיכרוננו ופקדוננו וזיכרון אבותינו וזיכרון ירושלים עיר קודשך וזיכרון כל עמך בית ישראל לבניך לפלטה לטובה לחן ולחסד ולרחמים ולחיים ולשלום ביום הכיפורים הזה. זוכרנו, אדוני אלוהינו, בוא לטובה.
אמן.
ובוא כדנו, בוא לברכה.
אמן.
והושיענו בוא לחיים.
Amen. Favor us with words of deliverance and mercy. Show us the depth of your care. God, we await your redemption, for you reign with grace and compassion. We continue on page 42 in the middle of the page. Our God and God of our ancestors, pardon our failings on this day of atonement, erase our misdeeds, see beyond our defiance. For Isaiah said in your name, it is I alone who wipe away your defiant acts. This is my essence. I shall pay no heed to your errors. And the prophet said, as a cloud fades away, as mist dissolves into air, so your wrongs and mistakes shall be gone. I will wipe them away. Come back to me that I may redeem you. As you said to Moses, for on this day of atonement shall be made for you, to purify you from all your wrongs, and pure you shall be in the presence of God. We continue reading once more in the Ivrit on page 43. Eloheinu velohei avotenu, kadashenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkenu b'toratecha, sabe'enu mituvecha, v'samechenu b'shuatecha, v'taher libenu l'ovdecha b'emet, ki ata solchan liYisrael, u'mocholan l'shivtei Yeshurun b'chol dor v'dor. Mi ba'aladecha ein lanu melech, mochel v'soleach ata. Baruch ata Adonai, melech mochel v'soleach la'avonotenu, v'la'avonot amo beit Yisrael, u'ma'avir ashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana. Melech al kol ha'aretz, mekadesh Yisrael, v'yom ha'kippurim. We continue once more responsively in the English on the facing page. On this night of atonement, grant us, God, a sense of your presence as we call upon your name.
Speak your hopeful message to each yearning heart, and answer the worthy petitions of each searching
Purify
soul.
and strengthen our noble strivings and cleanse us of all our unworthy desires.
Join us together in fellowship and in love, and grant us the joy which comes from enriching other lives.
Help us to be loyal to the heritage we share. Draw us near to Torah in wisdom and in faith.
Strengthen our devotion to our people everywhere. Keep alive our faith in righteousness.
Bless
and
us
truth.
with hopes to uplift our daily lives and keep steadfast our courage and our resolve at all times.
On this night of atonement, help us, O God, to be worthy of your presence as we call upon your name. R'tzei Adonai Eloheinu Be'amecha Yisrael U'tefilatam be'ava tekabel beratzon U'teile ratzon Tamid avodat Yisrael Yisrael Amecha El Karov Lechol Korav Penei Lavnecha Vechonenu Shefach Ruchacha Aleinu ותחזינה עינינו בשובך לציון. ברחמים ברוך אתה אדוני המחזיר שכינתו לציון. לציון, לציון.
We continue on page 47. The first word, modim, of course, is a first cousin to the word todah, the very first word that we learn in Ivrit, meaning thank you. Perhaps it's reason enough for us to consider all the many reasons we have to be thankful on this night, thankful to be together after 3 years. And for so many other reasons, we say, Modim anachnu lach, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu leolam va'ed. Sur chayenu magen yishenu, atahu lador vador. Nodelecha unesaper tehilatecha, al chayenu hamasurim biadecha, ve'al nishmotenu hapukudot lach, ve'al nisecha shebechol yom imanu, ve'al niflootecha v'tovotecha shebechol eit erev vavoker v'tzohorayim. Hatov ki lo chalu rachamecha, v'hamerachem ki lo tamu chasadecha, me'olam ki binu lach. V'al kulam yitbarach v'yitromam shimecha, malkenu tamid le'olam va'ed. Together, uchetov lechayim tovim kol b'nei vritecha. V'chol hachayim yoducha sela, v'halalu et shimcha be'emet, ha'el yeshuatenu ve'ezratenu sela, baruch ata Adonai, hatov shimecha ulecha na'el hodot. Blessed are you, Eternal One, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amecha Tasim Leolam. אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל. בספר חיים ברכה ושלום. ופרנסה טובה, ניזכר וניכתב. ופרנסה טובה, ניזכר וניכתב. לפניך אנחנו וכל עמך בית ישראל, לחיים טובים ולשלום. ברוך אתה אדוני עושה השלום.
In 2010, the Rabbinical Assembly, the Association of Conservative Masorti Rabbis in North America, published a new machzor after many years, entitled Machzor Lev Shalem, and it's filled with beautiful explanatory material, which I'd like to make reference to throughout the day. The vidui, which follows, is so important and therefore is repeated many times. The comment here reads, in addition to fasting and otherwise afflicting oneself, as it says, V'initem et nafshotechem, the central mitzvah that is performed on Yom Kippur is vidui, or verbal confession. The rabbinic requirement to confess is based on the biblical passage that describes the confession of the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, when performing the temple ceremony. Following the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Jerusalem, greater emphasis than before was placed on synagogue ritual and individual prayer, and it fell upon each person to make confession, as we do now on Yom Kippur. I'd like to invite those who are able to please rise as we continue on page 52. ואלוהי אבותינו, תבוא לפניך תפילתנו, ואל תתעלם מתחינתנו. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence, and when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Eternal One, we are not so arrogant and stubborn that we claim to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu Hashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, Evinu, Vehirshanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Ya'atnu Ra, Kizavnu, Latnu, Maradnu, Ni'atnu, Sararnu, Avinu, Ashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, Rashanu, Shichatnu, Ti'avnu, Ta'inu, Titanu.
Our turning away from your mitzvot and laws of goodness is a hollow pursuit. You are just concerning all that happens in our lives. Your way is the way of truth, while ours leads to error. What can we say to you whose existence is beyond time and space? What words of ours can reach your realm? beyond the clouds, beyond heaven itself. Every hidden mystery, every revelation, surely you know them all. Ata yodea ra'ei olam, v'ta'alumot sitrei kol chai. Ata chopes kol chedrei vaten, uvochen klayot valev. You know the secrets of the universe and the secrets of the human heart. You know and understand us, for you examine our inner lives. Nothing is concealed from you, nothing hidden from your sight. Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, we pray that this be your will. Forgive all our wrongs. Pardon us for every act of injustice. Help us atone for all moral failures.
על חטא שחטאנו לבניך בזדון ובשגגה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לבניך בדיבור פה.
Together, for the ways we have wronged you deliberately and by mistake, for the harm we have caused in your world through the words of our mouths.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך באימוץ הלב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בטיפשות פה.
For the ways we have wronged you by hardening our hearts, for the harm we have caused in your world through careless speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בכחש ובכזב, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך ברכילות.
For the ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, for the harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בפלילות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומרים.
For the ways we have wronged you by judging others unfairly, for the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בווידוי פה, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בהונאת רעה.
For the ways we have wronged you through insincere apologies, for the harm we have caused in your world by mistreating a friend or neighbor.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בחוזק יד, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך במשא ובמתן.
For the ways we have wronged you through violence and abuse, for the harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty in business. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. סלח לנו, מחל לנו. סלח לנו, מחל לנו, כפר לנו. על חטא שחטאנו לבניך בגלוי ובסתר, ועל חטא שחטאנו לבניך בפריקת עול.
For the ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, for the harm we have caused in your world by losing self-control.
על חטא שחטאנו לבניך בגילוי עריות, ועל חטא שחטאנו לבניך במאכל ובמשתה.
For the ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, for the harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך ביתר הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנשך ובמרבית.
For the ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, for the harm we have caused in your world through greed and exploitation.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בלצון, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך בנטיית גרון.
For the ways we have wronged you through cynicism and scorn, for the harm we have caused in your world through arrogant behavior.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך בשנאת חינם, ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך
בטומאת שפתיים.
For the ways we have wronged you by hating without cause, for the harm we have caused in the world through offensive speech.
על חטא שחטאנו לבניך בלשון הרע, ועל חטא שחטאנו לבניך בצרות עין.
For the ways we have wronged you with a slanderous tongue, for the harm we have caused in your world through a selfish or petty spirit. For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות.
On page 62.
חנוננו מערב ויעבור שבתנו מבוקר ויראה רינוננו עד ערב ויעבור צדקתנו מבוקר ויראה פדיוננו עד ערב. מנוסנו מערב ויבוא למענו מבוקר ויראה כיפורנו עד ערב. יעלה זיכרוננו מערב ויבוא ויעודנו מבוקר ויראה הדרתנו עד ערב. יעלה דופקנו מערב ויבוא גילנו מבוקר ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב.
So much of the liturgy that we recite during the course of the Yamim Noraim contains within it such a beautiful pathos. On page 64, the Shema Kolenu, Hear Our Voice, is such a real human striving or appeal to God. Hear our voice, but no more obviously than the words Al tashlichenu le'et zikna. Do not cast us away when we are old. As our strength diminishes, do not forsake us. In each year of my rabbinate, I have shared a short piece which is based on and inspired by Shema Kolenu. Perhaps you know it. It's called I Am Me. I am not the stroke in bed 2, or the hip replacement in room 4, or the Foley that needs changing in 7. I am me. I used to have responsibilities like you. There were people dependent on me. I had a wife. I raised 7 children. I made decisions. My body was young and strong. I ran, I flew, I made love. I ran with the wind, skimmed the lake in a sailboat. I have lain alone on smooth grass. I have kissed hurts away from skinned knees and felt a baby's face nuzzling into my neck. I remember the fragrance of baby powder. I have been brave. I have won honors. I have failed in some things, but please see me. You will be old someday, just like me. Then you will understand how I want you to know me. But then it will be too late. We continue with a beautiful setting from Louis Lewandowski, page 64, Shema Kolenu.
Kol Nidrei בניך. אדוני צורנו וגואלנו. אל תשליכנו מלפניך, ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו. אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה, ככלות גוחנו, אל תעזבנו. אל תעזבנו, אדוני אלוהינו, אל תרחק ממנו. כי לך אדוני הוכלנו, אתה תענה. אדוני אלוהינו.
Please rise. On page 66.
God of forgiveness, we come before you in need of compassion. At Sinai, our ancestors promised we will do and obey, and yet, stiff-necked, they broke their word, praising an idol of gold. How wondrous your compassion in the face of their rebellion, your forgiveness for that moment of human weakness and doubt. We, too, have broken promises to you. We, too, worship the work of our own hands. We, too, make of gold a god. And we, too, forsake your word. At Sinai, you revealed 13 attributes of mercy. These aspects of your nature, your very essence, we now recall.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed l'alafim, Noseh Avon v'Pesha וחטא ונקה.
Please be seated.
Please be seated.
Kirachem av al banim, rachem Adonai al yire'av, ki chigvo hashamayim al haaretz, gavar chasto al yire'av. As parents show tenderness to their children, may you show mercy to those who worship you. Like the heavens that tower above the earth, your love is powerful for those who revere you. Liberation is a gift from God, a blessing upon your people. You are the God of all we can perceive, our haven, the God of Jacob. and you are the God of all that is beyond our perception. The one who has faith in you is fortunate. Sovereign God, show us the way to freedom. Answer us in this day of our calling out to you. Then Moses prayed to God, as you have been faithful to this people ever since Egypt, please forgive their failings now, in keeping with your boundless love. And God responded, I forgive, as you have asked. We continue on page 71. Page 74, please rise for Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, ha'er lanu et derech chayenu. Together we read, Avinu Malkeinu, illumine for us the path of our life. Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we find the strength to take the road less traveled? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we come to know the purpose of our existence? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we learn not to live life in vain? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we leave behind our indifference? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we distinguish between truth and falsehood? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we find the answers to our questions? Avinu Malkeinu, how shall we gird ourselves with strength to seek answers? Avinu Malkeinu, chazkeinu ve'amtsenu chonenu va'anenu, ki v'cha v'imcha hatashuot. Avinu Malkeinu, empower us, give us courage, be gracious to us and answer us, for the answers are both in you and with you. On page 76.
Avinu Malkeinu Shema Kolenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, hear our voice.
Avinu Malkeinu Chatanu Levanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we have strayed and sinned before you.
Avinu Malkeinu Gamol Aleinu Ve'alol Aleinu Betapeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, have compassion on us and on our families.
Avinu Malkeinu Galei Dever Ve'cherev Ve'ra'av Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the onslaught of sickness, violence, and hunger.
Avinu Malkeinu Galei Kol Zar U'Mazin Me'aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, halt the reign of those who cause pain and terror.
Avinu Malkeinu Godveinu Bezever Chayim Dovim.
Avinu Malkeinu, enter our names in the book of lives well lived.
Avinu Malkeinu Kadesh Aleinu Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, renew for us a year of goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu Malei Yadeinu Mi Birkotecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our hands overflow with your blessings.
Avinu Malkeinu Harem Gerem Meshichecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, let our eyes behold the dawn of redemption.
Avinu Malkeinu Nal Tajivenu Regam Melavanecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, we pray, do not turn us away from you with nothing.
Avinu Malkeinu Gabel Merachamim Uveratzon et Tfilateinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, welcome our prayer with love, accept and embrace it.
Avinu Malkeinu Azeimanu Leman Shemecha.
Avinu Malkeinu, act toward us as befits your name.
Avinu Malkeinu Ase Lemanim Lo Lemanenu.
Avinu Malkeinu, act for your sake, if not for ours.
Avinu Malkeinu En Lanu Melech Ele Ata.
Avinu Malkeinu, you alone are our sovereign.
Avinu Malkeinu P'tach Sha'arei Shamayim L'Tfilateinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, let the gates of heaven be open to our prayer.
Avinu Malkeinu Shma Koleinu Chus V'rachem Aleinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, hear our voice, treat us with tender compassion.
Avinu Malkeinu, almighty and merciful, answer us with grace for our deeds of wanting. Save us through acts of justice and of love. Please be seated. So every year we have a remarkable drush, and then we have the State of the Union. So it gives me pleasure to introduce our President, Michael Lawrence, to share with us a few thoughts and an appeal.
Shana Tova. Temple Beth Israel acknowledges that the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples are the first peoples of Australia. The Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation are the traditional owners of the land on which our synagogue is located, for which they have never ceded sovereignty. We pay our respects to the elders, past and present. Welcome. So lovely to see everyone here this evening, so many friends, and to everyone watching. As Rabbi said in his drush, it's great to have friendships. We are connected like the sequoia trees, right through this congregation. As I said on Rosh Hashanah, It is wonderful to have everyone in our synagogue after so many years. As Michelle said, I'm Michael Lawrence. I am the president, but I represent the Board of Governance at Temple Beth Israel. We would like to thank you for your overwhelming support which you have shown us in the past weeks. Our first 22 days have been focused on the Yamim Norim, our days of awe. This was so important. After 2 years of isolation, a special thank you to not only Rabbi Roebuck, Cantor Lalum, Rhonda, Ido, Sharon, the choir, David Cram, but also to our staff who have worked tirelessly, many of them never having been through a High Holy Day preparation before. Thank you to every one of you. Kol Nidrei is not about finances, but we wish to say we will be sending a communication in the period ahead. We have some challenges with our policy, and with our policy of transparency, we will share the numbers with you, our congregation, soon. In the meantime, once more request. We would ask that anyone who has paid 3 to 4 months of membership, if you can afford to pay the entire year now, this would help our cash flow enormously. It would really be appreciated. It is important now that that we now turn our focus to the programs that help make us a community. We will continue to work together with all those who make our congregation the vibrant community that it is today. To welcome newcomers, those who are choosing to become Jewish, those who have chosen progressive Judaism, those who have chosen our community, those who need our support, those who wish to follow a family tradition with bar or bat mitzvah in our synagogue, and those who need us at times of grief. These and other areas is where we now need to work, hand in hand with you, our community. We thank many of you that you've already reached out to us. Thank you for telling us what is important by volunteering and, importantly, being here in our sanctuary today. We look forward to hearing from you more over the months ahead. Tonight you would have seen on your seats a brochure for our Kol Nidrei Appeal 5783. Now more than ever, we need your help to keep our Ner Tamid, our eternal flame, burning. We are now back to learning, we're celebrating, we are mourning, and we are praying together. From the previous year's lockdowns and with the recent challenges for our congregation, our income is down significantly, and we, your board, are asking for your help. We are here to serve you, but we can only do so if you also help us. We especially ask you to consider this great congregation, a congregation with more than 93 years heritage, a congregation that our forefathers made sure was here for us today, a congregation that has a wonderful future, that is ours to define the shared vision and purpose together. We look forward to seeing many of you tomorrow on Yom Kippur. As you leave this evening, please remember to thank our CSG and our security groups. Gemar Chatima Tova. May you be inscribed in the book of life. It is our privilege to serve you. Thank you.
I don't think I've ever heard such a succinct State of the Union address in my life. Page 79, we rise for Aleinu.
השמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו מגוב הם מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים
We remain standing. Our thoughts turn to our loved ones, whom death has taken from us in recent days, those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. This Erev Kol Nidrei, we think of those in the period of Shiva and Shloshim. We think of Yvonne Bentata, Arthur Best, Arcady Borodulin, Marie Cashmore, Michael Cotton, Peter Curtis, Les Davidovitz, Edna Flack, David Frampton, Ruth Goddard, Paula Goldberg, Ketty Goldberg, Sylvia Green, George Halfin, Bert Hand, Francis Hoffman, Lazarus Holstein, Laura Kippen, Leon Kirshner, Olga Kirshner, Ernst Kraus, Muriel Levine, Basia Levy, Max Liebman, Nancy Marks, Jim Matthews, Richard Melzak, Rolly Minsky, Ellen Moser, Susie Rockman, Rose Roster, Louis Rotman, Gary Sostheim, Leon Splitter, Sari Steinberger, Evelyn Taft, Penina Tamir, Laura Trigoning, Greta Unger, Richard Valentine, Anna Wachtel, and Max Weiner. If there are other names you would like to recall, please do so as I look around the room. Naomi Tippett is the person who created these three tapestries behind us. Zichrona Livracha, along with Albert Bentata. We think of all these and all those who have died so unnecessarily in Ukraine, as we join together on page 83 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, v'alma divrach chirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילה מקל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו Val Kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for us and for all of Israel
and all of humanity. And we say, Amen. Please be seated as our My pleasure to introduce Luke Weisbrem, who is a member of the board, to share a few announcements on behalf of the board.
Good evening. On behalf of the President and the board, I wish you and all those joining us online Gemar Chatimah Tova. Tomorrow, during Yom Kippur's Tekenu service, you will also be able to join one of two concurrent presentations at 2:45. Our board member here, Professor Honourable Kevin Bell, AM KC, who is also the Royal Commissioner of the Uruk Justice Commission, will be speaking about truth-telling, healing and reconciliation, and reflecting on Indigenous, Jewish and his own experience. And Professor Andrew Marcus, AO Emeritus Professor in Monash University's School of International Historical and Philosophical Studies, will have a conversation with Rabbi Roebuck on how will Judaism survive. They will discuss whether anti-Semitism, ascendant orthodoxy, the pandemic, assimilation, intermarriage and illiberalism pose a lethal challenge to community of Judaism as we know it. Looking ahead, please remember to fill your mazon bags with non-perishable food and toiletries and return them to TBI before Simchat Torah. Please also consider supporting this year's Kol Nidrei appeal. Donations can be made via TBI's website. If available and willing and able, we're going to move the bimah, and we need about 15 volunteers to help us on Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes. Prayer books, of course, can be returned to the trolleys near the entrance. And finally, please remember to thank our protectors as you leave, and for everyone's safety, do not congregate on Alma Road.
Thank you, and we conclude with the words, the traditional words of Yigdal, which you will find on page 84.
Amen.
choir and its director, L'Shana Tova Tikatevu V'Techatemu. Please allow the cantor and I time sufficient to retreat to the back of the Beit Knesset so that we can greet you on your way out and to wish you a good evening and a good year. Please take this occasion as we join in the singing of L'Shana Tova Tikatevu to please give your blessings, your greetings to those seated to your left and to your right, in front and behind.
And please join us tomorrow morning with your children or grandchildren or great-grandchildren at 8:30 tomorrow for talk.
8:30, you've got to be
8:30.
Beautifully sung.